Danang was not what we know today. 9 years ago, it really kind of exploded 6-7 years ago, Danang. It was beginning, let's say 9 years ago.
Okay.
So it was a really little village. I love Danang because I feel that the time was in accelerate. You know, like when you're in Europe, everything stands for like centuries, you know, which is beautiful for that. But you know, you don't have so much evolution in your own country. The most positive will be really safe. I think it's amazing. You can let your kid on motorbike, even your phone or whatever. It will be extremely rare to be robbed. Can happen a bit more in Saigon and Hanoi, but it's a really big city. The cost of life is amazing, for sure. But I was winemaker in France, so I was making wine, and I actually do a school of business and winemaking.
So let's just do it, man. Hi, I'm Evan.
I'm Adrien. I live in Vietnam since 9 years. I start in Saigon before to move in Danang quickly. I work for a big company of wine. Then I built my company in Hoi An. So here is Chez Janine House of Wine. So it's our retail wine bar of French Connection wine. My plan was to doing Asia, Australia, and South America. But then I get stuck in Australia and Asia the 3 first years. So I was doing freelance winemaking and the other time traveling. I've been 3 times in Australia. Also, it was a country I maybe could finish. And they produce wine as well there. Yeah, for 3 years basically I was doing Southeast Asia, Australia, Europe. And then a friend of me told me, yeah, with your experience, I'm sure you could get a job quickly in Vietnam. And I said, it's been 3 years, I'm going back, maybe let's do experience in Asia. And I never left Vietnam. I get married.
I went to Australia on a 1-year visa and worked there, lived in Melbourne. I saw a bit of that, like presumably you're in the south, somewhere around Adelaide, like wine region. That was the first time I came to Southeast Asia too. What's a piece of advice or something you would say for someone who is sort of maybe in the position you were 10 years ago, or someone who's still in Europe or North America thinking about coming over to Southeast Asia and Vietnam?
First of all, to rent a place by month, to don't rent by day. Even if you have some really good and cheap hotels, but what will make your life really cheap and good is you have your own place, pay by month, that you can cook or eat specialty everywhere in the street.
Where are you from? What region are you from in France? What kind of wine do you specialize in?
I'm from south of France, so I love where I come from. It's beautiful. I love the culture there. Languedoc, which is the biggest producer of wine in France. It's about 300,000 hectares of vines. Yeah, I kind of grow into there. My grandfather make wine.
You're kind of living your dream, right? You're living out who
definitely.
you are.
I refuse a lot of money to keep my dream happening.
The location we're in now is called Chez Janine. Obviously, I will link and put the Google Map connection to that. And then importation business is called French Connection. French Connection.
You want the story behind?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
A nice story.
Of course.
So Chez Janine, it's my grandmother. Passed away the year that we did the business, so it was really homage and something really Frenchy. After French Connection wine is actually spicy story, because I don't know if you know about French Connection.
Like the movie, the film?
Like the movie, like the drug cartels and things. So French Connection have a big link with Vietnam, because opium was actually collected in Laos and Vietnam. Dien Bien Phu area, this area, which is actually a part of the Golden Triangle. So even after the independence, French keep a good relationship with the farmers and the people there. So that's why French people bring back to Marseille in south of France all this pure opium from Vietnam and transform into really strong heroin, who was sent to USA and make a lot of problems and make really rich people in Marseille.
Okay.
So I said, okay, it's funny. I'm importing drug because alcohol is a drug who kills the most people in the world.
Okay.
But it's legal and it's my passion.
So it's like
French Connection wine, which is more the importation distribution part. So we have a professional part and particular part, let's say. We opened here 2 years ago and we started the company 7 years ago.
Beautiful.
So we work mainly Central Vietnam, but also South. And we import only French wine.
Only French wine.
French Connection.
I love it. And I know that when we first met, you talked a little bit more specifically about regions. Maybe we'll get into that later, but let's just dive right into your cost of living abroad and start with the basics of sort of like how much you spend on food and drink, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sort of in your average day or maybe in a monthly budget.
For the monthly budget, I don't really know, but every day, basically, I will eat Vietnamese food and budget daytime, and cook more or going to expat restaurant night.
Okay, so what's your sort of average cost or spend for like a local meal, Vietnamese restaurant?
40 in
Yeah, it can be in dong.
dollar.
Yeah, no, you do dong and I'll convert to dollar. It's about 25.
Okay, in dollar I will say like $1.50.
Yeah, like $1.50 for sure. Very realistic.
If you want a big part.
I don't think I actually know. I don't think I asked you the first time we met. Do you have a partner? Are you
Yes, I'm married here since 3 years.
to a local, to a Vietnamese woman?
Yes, from Hanoi.
Ah, okay. So married to a Hanoian. Not local in the sense.
No, I'm more
but
local actually, but
certainly Vietnamese. Okay, cool. So yeah, about $1.50 a day for those meals. Obviously, you're cooking. You're operating a food and beverage
yeah.
business.
So we do really cold cut, cheese, French baguette, like everything to pair and be gourmand with wine. It's no any pretension of restaurant. It's really wine bar, cold cut, cheese,
Okay.
fine selection.
And this is a stunning location. I know. Hopefully, it will look beautiful on film, but really, like we're in between the beach and the river, right by Am Bang, with Hoi An Old Town behind us. Wonderful location.
It's really nice for like sunset time. Like most of people, we spend the day at the beach, and around 6 p.m. they will come here to have some cheese. And
Yeah, for sure, man. So, what about when you do like a French or an international cuisine dinner out? How much are you guys spending?
I mean, the price I'm offering here, for example.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can introduce by what I offer here. It's cheaper than in France with French products. So the taxation is different and all the costs are different. But for a cold cut plate, it will be around $12 with only imported product, literally French baguette, French cheese, Italian coppa, whatever. And for like a really big royal board, like we call it, you will spend $18, which is really reasonable because we use only premium product from Italy, France, Spain mainly.
Yeah, so that's like in Vietnamese dong, talking like 300,000 to sort of
300 to 400, 500.
Yeah, 400 or
it's true.
500. The difference in cost is always about local versus imported, and I mean, you know better than I.
Yeah, but even if we use imported, we have like mass market price, and because we are not a restaurant, we marge really low. But still, we have like a QF around 2.2. You know. Yeah, the point is really to share with wine. So we don't want to charge too much for the food. We just want really good product and enjoyable with wine.
What about you and your wife? How much do you spend on yourselves?
On myself?
Food and drink, like a month, like roughly.
Depend because it's a bit a part of our job because we we go to some restaurant. But let's say around $700 for both.
$700 a month? Yeah, so you're still talking like that's less than $25 a day, right? Around 25 US
and
dollars
it's not
a day.
every day. It's more like
A couple.
we prefer to go sometime to good place than just to go every day. Vietnamese food are amazing in the street anyway. So.
Yeah, I think that's a nice comparison though, and then not everyone realizes that. Like places like your place exist, like really, high-end, beautiful imported products, wine bars, alongside, really lovely traditional Vietnamese food, and that you can do both. Like my wife and I are the same way, right? Like we will have a breakfast that costs $1 because that's just what we want, right? It's whatever it is, bang seo or like maybe the local bang hoi. But then, if we go out to one of the nicer restaurants in Danang, easily we can spend $50 or $100.
Yeah, like expat restaurant are actually relatively similar to the nice bistro I go in France. They are not so cheaper, yeah. Living in Hoi An is nice because most of your friends have villa. It's not like city life with apartment or whatever. So we need less to go in a bar or a place to enjoy, which is advantageous to be in Hoi An and to have villas. Also because the price is really more affordable than other place. Yeah, the beach bar is definitely the most common for me and I think for expat. Expat in general a bit avoid the old town because it's the headquarters of all the tourists. But the beach definitely it's the place I will go. Yeah.
How much do you think you spend on drinks in a month? Maybe
$100.
$100 a month.
I have a wine bar and a big stock of wine and beers and distribution, so I could spend more, but I have a good stock here. For transportation, the gas is really cheap in Vietnam. It's like 80 cents liter, let's say.
Yeah.
And motorbike consume really low. I have personally a P6 hybrid, so it's powerful and low consumption. I spend probably $2 for 100 kilometers almost.
And so you don't need a car, you think, to operate business?
My wife would like a car because she's from Hanoi, but me, I really don't want a car. Like, I mean,
Okay.
police don't bother anyone in motorbike.
That's right.
And yeah, you're really free with motorbike, and except when I do Danang, Hoi An, but still, it's not so much. It's 20 kilometers.
Yeah, it's about half an hour, maybe 30 minutes on a motorbike.
Vietnam is really motorbike.
It is.
Country.
I find too, like, it's kind of chaotic, but there's the majority of people are on a motorbike or a bicycle, so people here are more conscious of the fact that there are bikes everywhere. Like at home in Canada, it's such a car
Yeah.
culture that on a bicycle or a motorcycle can be, I think, more dangerous because cars are not, they don't look for it, right? Like,
I know what you mean. More dangerous, I would not say. We're still in Vietnam, and it's still quite chaotic.
it's definitely
Driving
chaotic.
in Vietnam, but yeah, definitely people are more aware that motorbike are on the street in Vietnam.
Okay, and so
You need to be professional to drive motorbike in Vietnam.
you've been here 9 years. You bought a bike, obviously? You own it?
Yeah.
And did you buy a new or used or what?
Used, but I have a really kind of rare model. It's a hybrid P6 Honda, electric gas
Oh,
propulsion.
okay. It's a hybrid.
Yeah, a real hybrid. So I got it second hand for $2,000. $1,000 with only 10,000 kilometers.
So like 50 mil?
Yeah,
And how many years have you had it?
only 1 year.
What about travel, take trips, which can be within the country domestically for work stuff? Also, we usually in this part include like any talk about visa costs, because for a lot of people they're doing like visa runs or stuff, but I would assume you have either a spousal visa or like a business investor visa.
So the visa is always a bit sensitive because Vietnam is one of the most, let's say, strict in Southeast Asia. I'm married, I have a company, and I still need to renew often my visa. Before, as the owner, I could have 2-year visa. After is 1 year, and now I'm on marriage visa, so I need to renew every 3 years.
Yeah, like I'm on the
I'm-
the TT, the marriage TRC visa. So I have this one as well, and yeah, same thing. I think it's $200 about every 3 years, about 5
I think
million
it's officially 150, and you add 150 for helping the procedure.
for the bureaucratic processing. How did the visa you had before for your business, how did that work? Like, what was the process like for that?
I could talk about that, but honestly, Vietnam changed a lot for that.
Yeah.
Now the same visa I used to have, I will need to invest 10 times more than I was doing before to have an investitor visa. So, but the last thing I checked, you need to invest, I think, $80,000 minimum to have
Yeah.
an investitor visa.
What's
Before was way less,
Right.
but it's become more and more. I used to do it. It was $20,000.
Okay.
Now it's 80.
yeah,
4 times in 5 years.
like it's quadrupled, yeah.
Yeah, it quadrupled the minimum to have this visa access.
But when you are renewing it every year, you don't have to reinvest money every time, right?
No, for sure.
it's the
After
same-
if
the
a
same- the same money
if
rolls
a
over,
company
yeah.
is still open and well, it's good, yeah.
Yeah, but
But who want to do like a small, medium company cannot have access to this visa, which is for me not the best because it's push people to do tourist visa, which
Yeah.
is the case for 30% of people we know. When
Right.
people actually want a visa solution,
Absolutely.
but have difficulties to find the
So,
combo.
so a lot of my big part of my audience is like people who are considering moving, here versus maybe like Thailand or the Philippines, and like that's a big concern. A lot of them, if there's no retirement visa, they think, well, fine, then you can go an investment path. I think then it might even be 120,000 US dollars now. It's very high. It's like 3 billion, I think.
Even more.
And that's like the minimum one, right?
Yeah.
It's like obviously you can go up.
It's a clear, way to say to people who are coming in, we want this,
Yeah.
Vietnam is not exactly like all the countries around. They still have their own management, government, let's say, and they definitely want to a bit upgrade the arrival of people, which is not the best friendly way for other people who try to do good things in Vietnam, but that is what's happening now. So.
Yeah, it's interesting too because they know that the other thing with the tourist visa or the 30-day, 90-day, that's changed multiple times in the last 10 years, and then through COVID too, right? Where it was 90 days or sort of at one point it was like almost 6 months, and like a lot of people were teaching English on that visa, and like maybe once or twice a year doing a visa run, or not even going in person, just like having their passports stamped?
I would say like I don't even know if it's legal, but I think is it?
don't
I
know.
think you can spend
It's certainly
6 months
accepted.
maximum. I think to being really legal, but for retirement people, I would advise to just be in tourist visa and going back. I mean,
Yeah.
you have an international airport in Danang. You can go to Taiwan, to South Korea,
Yeah.
to
Hong Kong now.
Thailand, Hong Kong, so
Yeah.
many places. Bali really easily with AirAsia, Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah.
It costs nothing. It avoids you like a bad time, saves the cost of the visa. Shame to say that because the system works well like this, but it's actually not the right one, I would say. It's not
Yeah.
for everyone.
No,
In
I know.
Thailand, you have
It's like a loophole, right? And
Yeah.
but you never know. I think that it would be great. We'll see that it's likely that there could be some sort of DTV, digital nomad type visa soon-ish. I don't know about a retirement visa, but we'll see.
we'll see.
Okay, what about, and you can include this too, not just for personal, but for operating the business. I think people be curious about, what are you paying for your utilities monthly? So like everything, like your air conditioning, refrigeration, lights, water, like all the,
For the whole place, let's say around 20 million.
around 20 million, so around $800 US.
Yeah.
And that obviously for you, that's a business cost more than a personal cost too, right?
Yeah, for sure. We have a house on the top
Yeah.
floor, so which is nice, but it's more opportunity.
Okay.
We will anyway have this kind of cost for what we're doing here.
And so is there like a big walk-in fridge unit back there?
This house is actually amazing because it's kind of eco conception. So we have the wine store under 1 meter of ground, which is really nice
Whoa.
actually, and everything is in like arm beton, concrete.
Yep.
Béton in French and Vietnamese is the same. I used to use it. No, really, like this house was just the best opportunity when we visit it because we can really share the office, storage, wine bar, shop, and actually accommodation.
Did you found this house? It wasn't.
Yeah, we was looking around the area because this area for me it's really nice. You have a lot of new villa. It's between the river and the beach, and I need easy access to Danang,
Okay.
which is almost 10 minutes less than the old town. It's just perfect.
$800 a month, $9,600 a year, under $10,000.
You can provide a business, you can provide revenue. It's what is really nice in Vietnam that, for example, in France you cannot do, is you can mix your accommodation and your business. And this can really impact all your expenses and especially help you when you start a business in Vietnam.
Absolutely. It makes it so much more economical. And this is a beautiful business too, a beautiful place, offering a food and beverage and import-export downstairs and then being able to live upstairs.
It's a triple use place.
Yeah, triple use, really, truly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And we are near the beach. Just
Yeah, and
nice.
you're near the beach and the old town, of course. It's fantastic. We're wrapping up the budget, the cost of living expenses, finances stuff, and then we'll move into the other more personal stuff. How do you make money living abroad?
But I was winemaker in France, so I was making wine and I actually do a school of business and winemaking. So I have some experience in business in wine, in tourist wine, and also in making wine. So in France I was mainly making wine, and then I moved to Vietnam, and I have a friend living here. I said, okay, you can work in this company, and you should try, and I get hired. But the company told me they have a position in Danang, and I was in Saigon this time. And Danang was not what we know today. 9 years ago, it really kind of exploded 6-7 years ago, Danang. It was beginning, let's say 9 years ago.
Okay.
So it was a really little village, the expat area in Danang, for example, where it's like 5-6 business. Happy to be there to see the evolution because the evolution of Danang, it just... I love Danang because I feel that the time was in accelerate. You know, like when you're in Europe, everything stands for like centuries, you know, which is beautiful for that. But you know, you don't have so much evolution in your own country. In Danang, what I've seen in 10 years is what I will see in a lifetime in France. And this is quite amazing to see in terms of evolution.
I think, yeah, you put that so well, like the pace, right? And it's not just in terms of like numbers, like the GDP or economy, like visibly seeing a place evolve and grow and change in front of your eyes is, you don't get that at home. And here, like, yeah, there's the beautiful historic old town in Hoi An, but that's very small. And like outside of it, you can see you literally can see the culture and the place growing, right? Which is...
And you have a lot of energy because, I mean, I have so many new opening, new concept, some close, of course, but it's very dynamic, I mean, in this way. And you are not in super big city, like Danang is still like the really enjoyable city.
Yeah, and it's almost like getting on a wave too, right? Like it's like I definitely felt that coming here, that not only was I glad for that, like you, I came here for a job and now I've evolved into working for myself and marrying a Vietnamese woman, but that it feels like this place feels like it's growing, like it's becoming something new and it's happening fast. And yeah, like if you want to be a part of it, it will happen in your lifetime, right? You'll actually get to see, if you and I are both here a decade from now, which we probably will be, the one thing you know for sure is that it won't be the way it is now, right?
No, yeah, it will be. I mean, I've seen Vietnam kind of South Korea in 10 years. Without anything wrong behind, but in terms of evolution, when you see the evolution of Korea with Japan, we will be close to South Korea, I would say, in 10 years. But you still have this farming area in Vietnam that we don't mention, but it's still more than 50% of the population who are doing farming and feed the world. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Coffee, chocolate,
rice, chocolate, fruits, absolutely. It's what makes it, even though it's geographically is kind of small, there isn't a huge land mass considering there's 100 million people. It's like a real, at home you'd call this like a bread basket. They used to call Canada like the bread basket of the prairies, and like Vietnam is like that. Like it can feed its 100 million people.
So they still have a system to kind of protect the agriculture in Vietnam with the heritage of communism, I would say.
Yeah.
For the good part. In France, we have similar system with a cooperative.
Yep.
You know what is it? In Vietnam, they use it a lot. So to put in common the tools, let's say, and to share the cost and things. In wine industry in France is the base, let's say. I work in many cooperative industry.
Interesting.
It's great. I mean, you don't have owners, so all the money is shared with the workers and the one who brings the grape. So it's literally like a socialist system, let's say.
Yeah, for sure.
But in a capitalism world,
That's a confusion too, right? Because people hear the word communism because it's the Communist Party, but this system is a kind of socialist capitalist system, right? Like it's
I come from a country totally socialist,
Yeah, sure.
So it's not communism and socialism. Maybe can have a little difference. Vietnam, it's a social republic. Yeah, well, I really like history, and I have heritage of my French social country, let's say. And I see a lot of links, I mean, in all proportion, of course, but for the healthcare, for the education a bit. You have some help everywhere, and you have a really strong public support for people who work for the government. In terms of land, sometimes, what they can, that work quite okay, I would say, in Vietnam.
Yeah, I remember too thinking like, not only how relatively safe I felt here during COVID and lockdown, but I also remember at some of the worst times, the government gave out rice, not money, right?
Yeah.
Food.
And the army was taking care of that, which for me was great, because the army in Vietnam is not used for fighting, it's actually more used to help population when it's really difficult. And
this was like a really sort of beautiful thing to me to understand, like, oh, what do people really need? Food. They need food, right? Like when people are struggling, you feed them. And in that way, it's cool to see, very interesting. What are some of the sort of pros or the positives you feel living abroad in Vietnam?
The most positive will be really safe. I think it's amazing. You can let your kid on motorbike, even your phone or whatever. It will be extremely rare to be robbed. It can happen a bit more in Saigon and Hanoi, but it's a really big city. Otherwise, it's really safe. The cost of life is amazing, for sure. Me, I'm working with French products, so to manage, let's say, European revenue and local life can be helpful, especially when you start a company. People are really nice. Vietnamese are not exactly the cliche that people could have from Southeast Asia. They have also the influence from China. So you need a bit more time to know about Vietnamese. Sometimes you can feel they're a bit cold, but it's just apparent. They're really nice people. And more you go out of the city, like countryside, more you will see seeing the real face of Vietnamese. You don't need communication with people when you go out. They're just happy to see you, to meet you. And sometimes it helps when you have a Vietnamese wife to translate
of course. Or alcohol. Alcohol can also help.
Alcohol is international
right?
Language in Vietnam, which is good. Yeah.
Grape wine versus rice wine, sure, there's differences, but I think that...
I didn't mention, but I worked during COVID for 1 year for a premium rice wine company.
Did you?
In Vietnam, yeah. So.
Well, actually, okay, so usually we go to the flip side, the negative side. So what are some of the cons or the drawbacks you find to living here?
The negative side is not so negative, but I traveled a lot in Southeast Asia before, and it was easier to meet people, local people, like Indonesia or Laos or Thai, to talk about what I know more. In Vietnam, it's good to stay long time to learn Vietnamese because the English is a bit less generalized than other places. Vietnamese, I would say, they are a bit shy sometimes with foreigner. So beautiful people, but sometimes difficult to catch. And the other thing,
Yeah.
when country is closed for many years and less tourism, culture, and all those things.
Yeah.
But it's changing really fast. I mean,
Absolutely.
when you see the new generation, it will be surprising in a near future. More and more amazing school in Vietnam,
That's right.
which is really expensive. But I mean, my wife did all the international school in Hanoi. She has the luck to could do that because it's very expensive. It's all the same level in Hanoi, Danang, or New York or whatever. But you need a budget. Go to one less generation. For the example of my wife, for example, they have like 5 kids, and only the first one and the last one go to school. The first one because we have only one budget, and the last one because after 15 years, the budget is easier with the evolution of Vietnam. But yeah, it was like this before. Yeah. It was we put all in one eggs, and we wish you will do your best and take care of the parents in the future. It's always works in Vietnam, I think.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. The value of family here is beautiful too. Why did you leave France? So sort of, what was the catalyst? What was the impetus to leave home?
So at the beginning, I always dreamed to really discover the world.